He and others stood in place and looked at each other. Xianxia was lost, holding the space ring in her little hand, and Xianxia's body temperature seemed to remain on it. She poured her spiritual mind into it, and after seeing clearly what was in the space ring, she was immediately moved. In the space ring, at least 200 domain stones were placed neatly. She almost thought that she was wrong, but after careful confirmation, she discovered that those things were really domain stones, and each piece exuded mild domain power. So much. Xianxia was horrified, and her body couldn't help but tremble lightly. You must know that she has been wandering in the blood prison for this period of time, but only got 3 domain stones. During this period, she was experiencing life and death situation. In this way, she also felt that she had gained a lot. Yu Shang only got 1 piece. As for Bahi, there are only 2 pieces. But Yang Kai unexpectedly gave her 200 pieces. This number is simply enough to make anyone crazy. Where did he get so many domain stone? After being shocked, Xianxia laughed happily and sweetly, and the little hand holding space ring even harder. With so many domain stones, she is confident that she can reach the level of the Void King realm in a very short time, and she is confident that she will not become a burden to Yang Kai in the future. Don't wait for Shui Lian and others? What does this mean? Yu Shang looked confused. His face changed, his eyes were shocked, he obviously understood, and waved, "Let's go, don't wait." Shui Ying also came over, shaking her figure, came to Xianxia side, and rushed towards an extremely hidden void tunnel nearby. The void tunnel that exists in this Kali is connected to somewhere a million miles away from Green Hill Star. The monster race martial artist who came from Monster Emperor Star left from here every time. With the cultivation level of Bahi, Yushang and others, after leaving the void tunnel, they would have to fly in the starry sky for 3 or 4 months before returning to Monster Emperor Star. Fortunately, there is not much danger along the road, and there is nothing to worry about. 2 days later, Yang Kai left the blood prison and came to a vast wilderness. Sporadic cultivators appeared from the blood prison one after another, either alone or in groups. Without exception, everyone looked excited and sad. Excitingly, they came out of the blood prison alive. Take a trip in the blood prison. It means that they may be qualified to condense their shi to the realm of bid accomplishment in the future, and are qualified to be promoted to the Void King realm. Even if they cannot be promoted to the Void King realm in the future, with such an experience they can also become the best in the Void Return stage. Sadly, many of their companions died. Some of the cultivators who entered it has even been completely annihilated, such as those of the Scarlet Billow Star Brilliant Fire sect. Above the wasteland, countless cultivators are looking forward to it, all waiting for their own sect disciples to come out. Once they find something, they will greet them with a smile, greet them warmly, and a look of high hope in their eyes. Naturally, no one came to meet Yang Kai. He came from Monster Emperor Star. Xianxia and others who came with him have returned. He didn't care about other people's excitement. Instead, he released his spiritual mind and started looking for traces of Qiantong and others. He came out late. Qiantong and others should have come out long ago. Soon, he noticed something and turned to go in a certain direction. Not far from there, a group of guys who seemed to have some backgrounds were surrounding a beautiful young woman, trying their best to send out invitations. Everyone's expressions were extremely sincere, and they each offered attractive chips. "Madam, if you don't have a place to go, why don't you go to my Blue Radish sect? With your cultivation level strength, you can become an outer sect elder as long as you join, and enjoy spiritual peak alone. There are a lot of spirit stones and medicine pill every month. My Blue Radish sect has 72 main peaks, one of which is empty. I haven't been able to find a suitable master. Blue Radish sect is far. Madam, come to our Heavenly Dream Palace. My Heavenly Dream Palace is home to powerful people from the Void King realm. Every 3 years there will be an opportunity to teach cultivation experience and explain the mystery of the domain. Madam can't miss it. If Madam can come to the Imperial Spirit Pavilion, The old man can guarantee that you will be the elder of the inner sect when you join. My Imperial Spirit Pavilion will do my best to help you in your cultivation, so that you can break through to the level of the Void King realm as soon as possible. The beautiful young woman turned a deaf ear to the noise around her, but she stood there with frowning eyebrows, seeming to be waiting for someone, looking around from time to time. After being annoyed by what they said, she shook her head and said, "I'm sorry, this mistress already has a sect, and I don't plan to leave the current sect, so please don't waste time with me." "It doesn't matter if you have a sect." The old man of the Imperial Spirit Pavilion who had previously invited her to join laughed. "The old man didn't let you leave the current sect. Madam can join my Imperial Spirit Pavilion as you are now. There is no conflict." In order to win over this beautiful young woman, he seemed to put the bottom line very wide, and he didn't mind her original sect. "Sorry, I don't have this idea." The young woman still shook her head. "Elder Lin." Yongkai walked over and greeted the young woman. Hearing the call, Lin Yurao's beautiful eyes lit up, and she turned around quickly and said cheerfully, "Sect Master, you are finally out." Yangkai nodded slightly and looked around. "How come you are the only here? Where has Qiantong and the others?" Lin Yurao opened her mouth, her face distressed. "It's not easy to talk here, let's talk while walking." Seeing her look different, Yangkai didn't ask carefully, and nodded, "Okay." "This friend, wait a minute." Seeing that Yangkai was about to take Lin Yurao away, the people who had surrounded Lin Yurao were suddenly anxious and quickly stopped in front of Yangkai. "Something?" Yangkai frowned. The old man who had spoken before then smiled, clasped his fists, and said politely, "Friend, are you the sect master where this lady belongs?" "Yes, what's the matter?" "It's nothing. The old man is the elder of the Imperial Spirit Pavilion, and he is here on behalf of the Imperial Spirit Pavilion. He wants to invite this lady to join the pavilion and serve as the elder of the inner sect." The old man saw that Yangkai was only a second-order void return stage, and he couldn't help feeling a little bit contemptuous, otherwise why would he dig his corner in front of Yangkai? After all, this kind of thing is a bit immoral. "Do you mean the same?" Yangkai looked at the others. Indeed, the few people nodded, their expressions calm. "What is your intention?" Yangkai turned to look at Lin Yurao. "Why ask, Sect Master? This mistress will not leave High Heaven Sect." Lin Yurao pressed her hair in her ear and responded lightly. Yangkai nodded slightly. "How many of you heard it? Well, let's say goodbye." With that said, Yangkai had to take Lin Yurao and walk out. "Madam, don't you want to think about it carefully? If you think the old man is not sincere enough, we can still discuss it. Anything is easy." The old man still chattered and followed Lin Yurao. "Go away." Yangkai looked cold, and sternly shouted at the old man. People greeted them with smiles, and Yangkai didn't mean to embarrass them, so he asked Lin Yurao. But the other party was still reluctant after getting Lin Yurao's answer, and they didn't take himself seriously. This is the naked contempt. Yangkai wasn't squeezed out of mud either, and he was not young and stupid. The old man stayed. Immediately his face became gloomy, and he gave a grinning smile. "Boy, there is nothing wrong with you here. You'd better close your mouth obediently, or else." "Otherwise?" Yangkai looked back at him coldly. "Otherwise, you will regret it. Don't think that as a sect master you can be mad at will. How old are you? As the sect master, you are not even as good as the cultivation level of the inner sect elder. Which sect master are you? In my opinion, this lady is with you, and she is of little use. It is better to serve my Imperial Spirit Pavilion early and have a great future." The old man talks. The cultivators who had invited Lin Yurao before also screamed and kept belittle Yangkai's cultivation level and persuaded him to let go, so as not to delay Lin Yurao's future. "What's the noise?" Yangkai was annoyed, and said coldly, "Elder Lin has already rejected you, and you are still entangled in it. Doesn't it mean not taking me in your eyes? I need to put you in my eyes." "A joke?" The old man snorted coldly. Everyone else looked at Yangkai disdainfully, obviously not paying attention to him. The conflict here has attracted a lot of attention. Seeing Yonkai's second-order void return stage in a small area, he provokes so many enemies all at once, showing sympathy and compassion, and feels that Yonkai has no eyes and must suffer a big loss. Old guy, if you don't want to die, don't provoke him. Don't look at his low cultivation level, he is not something you can handle. Suddenly, an abrupt voice sounded, and the old man and others frowned. Looking along the location of the sound source, he suddenly saw an unremarkable young man standing in place with his hands on his back, with a sneer smile on his mouth. Being so contemptuous, the old man was naturally angry and his face sank. When he was about to say something, he suddenly caught sight of a 3-petal flower pattern embroidered on the chest of the young man's clothes. His face changed slowly, as if he was thinking of something. He politely clasped his fists and asked, "Dare to ask this friend, who are you? Do you know Senior Wu Dao?" The young man said lightly, "That's my teacher." There was a sound of cold breath. Everyone looked at the young man in shock, as if they couldn't believe it, and at the same time there was deep envy. My God, this man is actually a disciple of Master Wu Dao. It is rumored that Master Wu Dao did accept an apprentice 50 years ago, but unfortunately no one knows who it is. It turned out to be him. He actually came to participate in the blood prison trial. What does the sentence he said just now? Could it be that the kid in the second-order void return stage is the same as him? After learning that this young man turned out to be Wu Dao disciple, everyone looked at him and their expressions changed, becoming odd and envied. The old man of Imperial Spirit Pavilion did not dare to despise what he said before frowning and asked this friend, "Dare to ask you, just now." The young man still carried his hands on his back, shook his head faintly and said, "You have heard everything, what else do you want to ask? If you want to die, you can continue to provoke him." The old man's face turned pale, and he looked at Yonkai with fear. In the midst of it, he seemed to see a huge backing behind Yonkai, and he didn't dare to be presumptuous anymore. To be continued.